Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Team Building with Zooch, where I take a guest and live build a team with them, and then I review the replay after, talk about how they played and how the team was constructed and all that jazz. So, without further ado, we have no stranger to the channel. We have my big man, Pampey, the tutee. What's going on, man? How are you?
Doing good. What's going on?
Doing fantastic. All right, so we have a this is a seasonal round 3 game. So the previous 2 episodes were TBC games, league games, but this is, again, we're back to 8-mon. So I've definitely had some experience, like we talked about your team, I think, when you drafted it, and some of the weaknesses, some of the strengths, and all that stuff. But let's go ahead and look at your opponent's team. You're playing Mishmesh, I think is how you say his name. You guys are both 1-1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So his team, so definitely, like I said, 8-mon, it's definitely easier to see some weaknesses. He actually has the same, I think, big weakness as your team does, which is kind of funny. You guys both don't have steel types. So,
Yep. So Namorous is
yeah,
pretty good here.
that's a
I
pretty
feel.
good Pokemon. Yes, you're right. Especially because they're Terra Pokemon. Well, most likely you're gonna know their type, so you don't got to make no guesses or anything, and all that stuff. So, everything else. So again, yeah. So Wheezing is their only Fairy Resist, and then also. Okay, so I see a pretty straightforward game plan actually on how to beat this team, and that's pretty much using Enam plus Darkrai plus Raging Bolt to kind of just destroy their team, because Weezing is going to probably have to be used for Darkrai too, unless he brings Carbink, and I can see Carbink coming for Darkrai, but honestly, if Carbink comes, like, you know, we have like Palafin and probably like maybe Rhyperior or something else kind of take advantage of it. So I don't think that's a big deal, but it can certainly come for Darkrai, because I don't think Weezing can check both Darkrai and Enam here, and especially because
No,
they both
probably
get,
can't.
yeah, they both get Psychic too, right? So it's gonna be really tough for that Weezing. What the hell? So I definitely think that's a game plan, just kind of attacking the Weezing and then having either Darkrai or Enamorous, whoever's surviving, to, you know, pretty much win the game. So do you see any threats to your team from their side, you think?
Probably the Kyurem. I mean, I don't really have a Steel type, right? So that thing kind of just destroys me.
Yeah, we're gonna probably have to be, I would say, like Spadef and Spadef Uxie doesn't even, like, you know, beat it, but it can at least check it. It can come in and probably either it's probably gonna have you turn an Encore to cover sub, I suppose.
Or like Dragon Dance. Like the Scale Shot, that could be.
Yep. That's why. So because you just said that, I do think Enam is probably a good Scarfer here, just because it does revenge pretty much everything. You know, a Spinning Tusk or a DD Kyurem or a Trailblaze. Well, Trailblaze Ogerpon's actually faster, but the other two I said, because it does one-shot them too, obviously. So that could be definitely a possibility, and then maybe like a setup Darkrai, like a plot Darkrai, maybe something like that. So there is a Raging Bolt set too that I think would be very good here, but it's a lot of people don't like this set, and I did run it 1 week in DPL and I did win with it, but it wasn't really because of the set, I don't think. But I do think the set is good here. Do you have any idea what kind of Raging Bolt set you would think you like here?
Is it a booster speed?
Yeah, it is booster speed.
Okay, I kind of assumed so when you said that people didn't really like it.
Yeah, obviously, like, taking a special attack maybe is the right or not good, but because what Terra type do you think I think would be good here?
I think probably Steel here.
So
Although,
Steel's an option, yeah. Steel's an option for sure. There's one that I think's a little bit better.
maybe like Grass here, because it resists the Tusk, and as well as the Ogerpon, right?
The only thing with Grass means that, yes, you could run Thunderclap, but you get kind of owned by Torn then, because like look at our flying resist. It's what, Rhyperior?
Okay, yeah, that's true, yeah.
And he's easily gonna have, he could have Grass Knot or something for Rhyperior. So I think Fairy. I think Fairy is also, because again, the only thing that's stopping your Fairy attacks is Wheezing, right? So I'm talking about like overloading the Wheezing, because it can't check everything. So with Fairy, all you need is T-Bolt and Terra Blast, right? And if you're you're +1 speed, you should be faster than everything that's not Scarf. So he just doesn't have a switch into Terra Blast. Like, if they go Wheezing on a Terra Blast and then you can hit it with a Thunderbolt, it'll be insanely low to the point where Moonblast from Enam kills it, or Dark Pulse from Darkrai kills it, right? So they just don't have a valid switch in. Plus, when you're running like a booster speed, bolt set and you only need those 2 attacks, I was thinking of, you're going to be very bulky, right? Because you're going to need like max speed, but then you can't run any special attack, obviously. So you're going to have a lot of bulk. So I was thinking like maybe sub and Calm Mind as the last 2 slots, because there's 2 Pokemon that you can take advantage of with Substitute that they definitely are not going to be able to break your sub, which is Lantern and Carbink, right? There's just no way. If you're Terra Fairy, even if Carbink runs like, dude, I don't even know, like Flash Cannon or whatever steel move. Usually it runs like Bind Defense, Body Press, Spikes, or whatever, but if it does have a steel move for whatever reason, maybe for Enam, if you're bulky, like it's probably not going to be able to break your Substitute. So a Lantern definitely won't be able to break your Substitute. So, but when you come in,
Yeah, it also stops the Thunder Wave Lantern too, right?
yeah, for sure, yeah. I mean, the only thing about that being sub command is you have to be very careful not to get encored. But you don't have to sub or Calm Mind right away. You can just attack to kind of see what they want to do. But I do think sub and Calm Mind is nice because let's say they don't bring Sableye or Sableye's dead. You know, maybe after 1 Calm Mind, everything's in range and you can just win with Bolt. That type of set is probably going to be brought in earlier, I think, this Raging Bolt set. I don't think this set's going to be like you bring it in to win the game. But I think he's going to have trouble kind of dealing with it. And you're probably going to get, hopefully, you know, maybe hopefully 1, but maybe 2 Pokemon with you. And then, you know, obviously with a couple Pokemon down, like that just helps your other Pokemon kind of do its thing. So, all right, let's get to the builder because we haven't even put them on the builder. So, unless if there's another Raging Bolt set too, you like we can run that too. That's just the one that popped in my head. I don't know if you like any other ones here.
No, I think that's fine because the other fact is, right, even if they do bring Sableye with Encore, it's kind of like worse into like Darkrai and Emrys, right? Because at least they can try, if they have like I don't know, like if they bring it over Carbink, right, then they're gonna struggle more versus Darkrai, so it's not entirely a loss.
Yeah, if I had to just guess the 6 they would bring, I think it would be top 5 for sure. Last slot is maybe Sableye just for Palafin. Because without Sableye, I know there's 2 Water Absorb Pokemon technically, but they get blown back by close combat, and they can't run Fizdef Weezing for Palafin. I mean they can, but then they're just gonna lose.
Yeah,
your
that wouldn't
special
go well
attackers.
for an M.
Yeah, so but anyways, okay, so let's do the Raging Bolt set first then, because that's what we're gonna go with. So booster, so we're gonna have to be, I literally have this memorized because I did this. Oops, Jolly 240, and then we need 20 IVs and oops. We need 20 IVs because that's, for some reason, that's like Bolt's event thing or something. So we would be just T-Bolt, Terra Blast, T-Bolt, and then we'll do Calm Mind sub for now. We could maybe run Thunderclap, but I think the whole point of the set is you're supposed to be faster than everything. That's not Scarf.
I feel like Thunderclap isn't really necessary here.
Yeah, it could help maybe for like a +1 like Trailblaze Ogerpon, but with how like no special attack we have, it's not going to do any damage to Ogerpon. I don't think. We could check real quick, but that's another reason. Like, or even to like Torn, like a Pokemon that it should be doing a lot of damage to, like it's just not going to be doing much to. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, against Torn, you don't really need to go for the Thunderclap.
No,
it's not going to do much damage.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, Ogerpon, well, if it's Terrad. Okay, so I mean, it still does. Oh, wait, nope, that's not speed. Yeah, so it does like 40. So if he does have like Synthesis, he can kind of just do that on us, and then it would fail too. So it's tough. Like, I think just having Thunderbolt would be better. It'll do more damage, and then he can't just Synthesis on you, because again, we're gonna be bulky, right? Like, let's just say we're, I don't know, I'm just gonna do random for now. Let's just say we're like this set, right? Like mixed defenses, whatever. Let's say we're this set, right? So 36, 124, right? 36, 124, whatever. Like, and we're Terra Fairy. We're gonna be able to take a Cudgel, and then like T-Bolt would 2-shot him. So it's just, again, that could definitely work, especially if he doesn't expect it. Like if he just doesn't have a planned switch into this guy. Like, it would, the only thing that he could really take this thing, like can take hits, multiple hits, is Lantern. But again, we just sub on that guy, so that's not even a really a threat to us. So sub, Calm Mind, and then if you, let's say Lantern does come in though, and you show sub as they try to like I don't know, Hydro Pump or Thunder Wave or something, and you get a free sub. Maybe, I know you would think, okay, now I can get a free Calm Mind. If Sableye is there, or Ogerpon is Well, no, you're faster than Ogerpon. So only if Sableye is there is when I wouldn't just kind of go for a Calm Mind, because you don't want them just volt switching into Sableye and encoring you, then you get literally nothing out of it. If there's no Sableye, then Calm Mind is obviously the play, because yeah, Ogerpon can have Encore, but you're faster if you have your booster up, right? So then you can just T-Bolt it away. So that's the only scenario where I wouldn't kind of just go for a Calm Mind if Sableye is there. But again, having Lantern plus Sableye is probably not going to happen. It can. Maybe the Lantern is Terra Steel or something, or Terra Poison. Okay, now I'm
I feel
thinking
like
about it.
Steel could probably come here
Yeah, because now
because
I'm
it
thinking
deals
about
with
it.
the name.
A set that kind of would own us is Lantern with Terra Steel, Volt Absorb. Right? That's very
But
specific, but it can come. Okay, so you can run another, like you could run like Draco, but again, even if it's Steel, you're not going to do a ton. You could run Dragon Tail, maybe. Hmm.
Well, would we be able to just like set up and beat it, or does it have a way around
Well, if they're Terra
the
Fairy and they're
bolts?
Terra Steel, they might have Terra Blast. That's the only thing.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. They might not though, because they might just run like Ice Beam or something, right? Because Ice Beam hits this, it hits Grottle, it hits, you know, pre Raging Bolt. So they might not even run Terra Blast, but this is still pretty good coverage. Again, they would have to be like that exact set to, or I guess Terra Poison with Volt Absorb too. But I don't know. That would be weird. I think there's probably a better chance for them to be maybe even Water Absorb too. I'm not too sure. So that's
Yeah,
just
well, I mean
something.
that does open them up to like Palafin if they do end up going with the
Hmm.
Volt Absorb, right? So that kind of gives me some more opportunities
Yeah,
because I mean, they could hard switch Ogerpon into it, but at the same time, if they take like a close combat or boom burst or whatever,
hmm
they're not going to be in a good spot, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's just something I would take note if they do have Lantern, just the Terra type. But if it's anything but Steel or Poison, you're gonna be good. So, all right. So next we said, okay. So we have one of two options. So there's like two options for Darkrai Anam. I think one of them should be Scarf. One of them should be like a setup win condition. I'm leaning towards the Darkrai being the setup Pokemon and Enam being the Scarf, but if you prefer the other way around, we could do that too.
I think Ganam is probably better as a Scarfer because it also gives me extra insurance versus like a Dragonette's Kyurem, right? Because if they're like, I don't want to have to rely on like Focus Blast Darkrai
Yeah,
to not
exactly.
lose to that, you know?
Yeah, and if you do run Scarf Enam, that does give us, because again, we only need what, Moonblast and Psychic here? Oh god. Psychic. So
Maybe
usually
like
like,
Earth Power or like just in case they're like Terra Steel on the Lantern.
yeah, we can run Earth Power for sure. Or it does, in case you need to hit like the Carbink a little bit harder too, for some reason. Because like I said, if
Yeah.
Carbink does come, it probably will be Spidef for Darkrai with like Body Press, maybe a Steel move too, I don't know. And then usually last slot, it's probably Healing Wish unless there's a better move. It would be kind of tough to want to Healing Wish this guy go because this guy is so good, but there can definitely be a scenario where Healing Wish is still the best click here. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I probably won't click it, but I feel like I don't know what else I'd run over it, you know? I don't really think there's much of a better option.
so you would probably only click it if like it's towards the end of the game, and then like something like your Palafin has a better way to win the end game, or even Raging Bolt. Like, sure, probably if you Healing Wish the Raging Bolt, like you're not gonna have your speed anymore, but it's still like a Pokemon that should 1v1 anything, even if it's slower at that point. So, or
Yeah,
or maybe you have to send it Darkrai early, but you don't reveal like your whole like plot or whatever set you are. Like you could Healing Wish that too. Again, like you said though, Enam is pretty good. Just attacking here, you're gonna be clicking Moonblast 95% of the time probably in this game. So, or maybe like Enam can't kill the Ogerpon, like right, because it's gonna have good Spit F. So like maybe you'd have to Healing Wish. I don't know, something else that we bring to deal with it. I don't know. Okay, there's a Pokemon I think we're gonna bring here, but we'll get to that later to kind of help with the Ogerpon.
okay.
But anyway, so we'll just go over that for now, and then you have one last decision I think for this, which is well, first we're gonna go contrary. You can go modest here. So if you go modest, right? So timid would make sure you outspeed max speed Kyurem. But if you think he's not going to be absolute max speed, Modest will outspeed his speed creep. So that's up to you. It could be a big thing if he is timid for some reason, because whoever's faster is obviously going to kill each other. If he's going to speed creep, he's going to, again, he would have to be max speed to speed creep Uxie, right? Like that's never, actual like thing. He would probably go down to Bolt. So
Okay.
it's up to you if you want to just make sure you're faster with timid, or you want to speed creep a little bit. If you do speed creep, by the way, I would not go all the way down to like where you think he's going to speed creep your Bolt. I would probably do like 302.
That is the Tusk, right?
Tusk is actually down to 287, but 302 is just for... Or, no, 302, I would probably do 290 then, because that's faster than Tusk and Modest. Wait. Oh, wait, no, Tusk is what, 300, right? Oh, yeah, sorry, you're right, yeah, Tusk. What the hell I was doing? Yeah, Tusk. So, that's up to you if you want to go Modest, or you want to just go timid and be like 319 or something.
I think I might just go timid. I mean, I don't think he's gonna run like the Jolly Max speed, but like just in case.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose off of like.
That's fine. Nothing. Yeah, it's better be safe than sorry. So we're gonna go to 319, and then something like that would be fine. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay. And then I think Darkrai is pretty easy to build too, because again we only need 2 attacks, which is Dark Pulse and Psychic. Again, they could bring Carbink, but I don't know if we have.
No, I don't think there's anything that could hit it.
So yeah, because this is our win condition, I think Plot makes a lot of sense here. Darkrai is like pretty like not bad bulky wise, like 90 and the defenses. So you can go Plot. There are definitely a lot of things that you can set up easily on, but even something like, let's say they bring Torn or something, as long as it's not like Specs or something, like you can probably live a hit from them anyways. That's obviously not ideal to set up on them, but you can. Sableye is obviously the easiest target to set up on. But even something like a Kyurem, as long as it's not a boosting item, like you're gonna live any hit. And what you could also do is just last slot. What do you think here? Or item.
It's kind of hard.
Or items you
Well,
think?
item. I don't know. I'd have to think about that because, like, I don't think there is like a. I don't know if there is like a clear item here. Maybe like, I guess, Lumberry could come for like the Lantern, but I'm not sure how practical that would be because I don't know if the Lantern would be the one who would take on the Darkrai.
Yeah, I think there's 2. I think there's probably 2. Lum could help with the Wheezing, like maybe if it's toxic or something you want to set up on Wheezing, or like if they Strange Steam or something, you don't have to worry about confusing or whatever. But I think there's 2 other ones I think could be useful, which is Chople isn't that ideal. It'd be okay for Carbink Body Press as well as like maybe a Tusk CC. But again, you're not going to do much to Carbink anyway, so I don't think how much that would help. The other one I was thinking of is just Endora Salic Berry, just to make sure you're faster than anything else in case Enam goes down. Realistically, again, you're already faster than everything, so it would just be, in case something is scarfed or something, has a boosting speed. Because I really don't think there's any other coverage. We could maybe run Foul Play to do a bit more to Ogerpon. We could check how much that does. Darkrai, Foul Play. It's probably going to do like half, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like Dark Pulse is still probably better.
Well, we're going to run Dark Pulse anyway, but I'm talking about as the...
Oh, yeah. No, I know.
Move. So this is just if you'd want to do more damage to Ogerpon in one hit, you would Foul Play. Does this thing get Will-O-Wisp? Will-O-Wisp is probably okay too if you're scared of that. But yeah, that's knockoff. I don't really think is okay. Hypnosis, I know you love that move. If you want to go with that, you can do that too.
Yeah.
So it's really, I think it's either Endure with Salic or Foul Play or Hypnosis. I think are the best slots.
Yeah, I feel like Probably Hypnosis or the Endure Salic. I feel like those sound the best here.
You get to pick which one, sir. It's your team. I don't think there's any clear better one. I think a little bit towards Endure, but if you hit your Hypnosis, that's literally a free nasty pot, so that could be clutch too.
I think I might just go with Hypnosis here because it's not something like I need to click, right? I mean, most of the time I'm just going to be like plotting up and going for like Dark Pulses and Psychics, so I think it's just a good click to have.
Yeah, and even like you don't even have to plot either. Like the plot's there obviously to help you kind of just sweep, but you might not even need to plot. So then with this set, what item are you thinking?
Maybe I don't know. I guess Chople could be decent in case of like like I don't know, the Torn or like the Tusk, but or like even the Carping's body press, right?
Yeah. Another thing I forgot that your team has no removal, so maybe Boots could also be good here.
Yeah, boots would be good here.
Cause
I feel like it depends on like kind of like the rules of like I don't know, like Torn Hurricane and like how much Ogre Pawn do with like Ivy Cudgel, right? Because if it will help to have that keep it at full HP, then I feel like boots would be a good option here.
yeah, yeah. Well, Ogre Pawn is gonna probably kill you anyway. Like, you don't have too much bulk of 28, so it's a roll in their favor for sure. So this is definitely one of the Pokemon though that you do need weakened for +2 to sweep. As you see, Dark Pulse. So, again, if nothing's asleep, you can just try to Hypnosis right in front of it. But obviously, if you miss, you just get nothing out of this guy. So that's the kind of challenge. We can leave the item for, or like if we give it maybe like black glasses, we can see how much that helps too. Okay, I don't know where it went. Black glasses. That's a bit better. Obviously, that increases foul play too. That actually does a lot.
How much does it do to the Torn?
Let's see. Tornadus. What kind of Torn? Like just offensive or AV? AV is not going to do anything. We'll check offensive first. So black glasses. I mean, at +2, you're going to one-shot it.
What about max HP?
Yeah, max HP it should get one shot too. If it's a
Solvest, I think black glasses.
You're gonna be doing like, like almost after rocks. Not quite though. And it could have some.
I think I like black glasses then.
Okay, yeah, we can do black glasses.
Well, it lets me Oko the Torn most of the time, right?
If it's like not bulk, if it's not AV, yeah. If it's not AV, you're gonna one-shot it. Like pretty much, yeah. It's max HP. So that's good. Black glasses. Okay, so that's good. Alright. So we have our pretty big offensive pieces pretty much done. What other Pokemon do you think you should bring here? I see the final 3 I think is best, but there could definitely be arguments for another one too.
I think I should. Well, the 2 I feel like for sure should come would be number 1 the Uxie, because that it pretty much checks most of their team, right?
What about anything else?
Honestly, I feel like Grottle's pretty good here, because like my team kind of gets ripped apart by the Ogerpon otherwise, right? And maybe Terra the Bolt early on, right? So I won't have that as sort of like an answer.
Yeah, I do think Grottle is a good Pokemon to have here for sure. Can you get the last one? What do you think?
Last, probably. I feel like Palfin isn't bad here.
Yeah, I would agree to those 3. Yep. Good job. Let's freaking go. Alright, so yeah, Uxie. So because Uxie is, you're gonna have to use Uxie for the special Pokemon like Torn and Kyurem, it looks like, and then Grottle can come in on like Tusk and Ogerpon. Because Uxie is gonna have to be like taking a shitload of hits here, I think just basically not like you're not gonna run rocks or anything. I think just kind of like a rest talk Pokemon with U-turn and Encore, because the more you can get in your Bolt and these 2 guys, like the easier you're gonna win this game, right? So all you really want, I think Uxie has a role here, is just to come in and then get in the other guys with slow momentum, right? As the two moves, I think obviously you need U-turn, but I think Encore just covers like either a sub from Kyurem or let's say a sub from Torn, or if Torn just attacks with like a strong with like a strong flying move or something. In that situation, I would probably U-turn, but anything where they don't attack, you're gonna want to encore it, or even if you're scared of like Uxie taking too much damage, you can probably make a hard switch into something like Raging Bolt if you haven't used the booster yet and you're not Terra'd, because again, he's not gonna click. Well, one, you're Terra Fairy, but if you're not Terra'd yet, like Torn isn't gonna click a move versus Uxie that would hit the non-Terra Bolt super hard, right? Like it's not gonna click like, I don't even know, like what, Icy Wind or something. Like, I don't even know what moves Torn's gonna have here really. Like it's gonna have Hurricane. It's gonna probably have a move for Rhyperior. It might just be like a U-turn knock set, honestly, because again, it can't do a ton to Raging Bolt, anyways.
Yeah, I think that
Right.
makes the most sense, right? Because
Yeah.
then they'd also be able to make progress versus Uxie. Because I don't know, I don't think they'd bring like a nasty plot set here.
No, okay, and plus you do a shitload with probably Jet Punch too. So, setting up Torn is probably not going to be, unless it's like maybe Agility, like Agility bulk up maybe or something like that. I don't know, but it's not Terra, so like it shouldn't be too hard to deal with. If it was Terra, it'd be obviously a lot better, but because then I'd probably just run like Terra Steel, I think. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I can't do that. So, because I think because we have Grottle, we can probably throw rocks on that guy. So we don't need to force rocks on Uxie here. So yeah, I do like Rest Talk here just to be as healthy as possible. But if you want to run like something like maybe a Citrus and then like knock off or T-Wave or something too, we could also do that. Or a Psychic move just for Tusk. What do you think here?
I kind of like the idea of just like being Citrus with like, I don't know, Thunder Wave or not, because then you could at least like kind of punish the Torn a little more.
Yeah, again, it's just tricky because if it does run like sub on your status move, or if he just U-turns into Tusk or into something, into Lantern if they have it, I don't know. So you can definitely run these moves though if you want like insurance, but you just have to be very careful with until like you kind of know their sets when to click what. What did you want as the last move? Knockoff, you said, or Psychic or something?
Probably like Psychic, just to kind of hit like the Wheezing, I guess.
Okay, they really
as well
shouldn't
as
bring.
The Tusk.
Yeah, they really shouldn't bring Wheezing into Uxie, but I guess they might. I don't know. Again, the whole thing, because you just said though, like as well as the Tusk, we have our Tusk. Grottle should handle the Tusk and the Ogerpon. So I wouldn't worry about hitting Tusk. And then again, you have 3 things that are faster than Tusk that all do a shitload to it. Actually 4. You have 4 things faster than Tusk.
Yeah, Palafin as well, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why like running something like you just said for Tusk doesn't really make sense.
Okay.
So last slot would probably be... It's hard because you're still sub fodder for Kyurem and Torn. Like there's not... Psychic wouldn't even break this up anyway for Kyurem.
Yeah. I don't know though. Maybe the Rest Talk would be fine then, because I feel like, I mean, the main reason I wanted to run a set like this was just because of the Wheezing, right? Because then I wouldn't exactly have anything to kind of like threaten it immediately.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you think they're bringing? Like you're saying, if they bring it in on like a Moonblast, perhaps, or something?
Yeah, because then I wouldn't really have like a switch to it, right?
Okay, so that's true, but again, if we're well, yeah, that's true.
I don't know. What do you think here about like how to kind of deal with that?
So what you could do here is because we have like 3 pretty good offensive pieces here, and yes, we're bringing Palafin. Palafin looks not bad, but they do have again 2 Aura Absorbers, potential Sableye, potential Wheezing. Like Palafin is probably your most like expendable Pokemon out of everything. If I had to guess, you could keep it low for if you want Jet Punch in the back. But in that situation where you just said like, oh, like if I Moonblast the Wheezing, I would probably just throw in Palafin versus Wheezing. Because so we can go
Okay.
special too if you want, if you're scared of Lum. I do think physical is probably a bit better just so you can do some more damage to like Ogerpon, or like if they do bring like an AV Torn or something. Um
Yeah, I think physical's fine. I mean, we could probably run like Lumbariums,
yeah,
right? Just to
yeah.
be immune to Wisp.
Yeah, I would that would be the item I would run here, yeah. Cuz it helps again maybe like Wisp from Sableye, Wisp from Wheezing, Thunder Ray perhaps, or maybe you get frozen by a freeze dry or something, just any of that thing. So I do think in that scenario you would probably just go Palafin, because again they're going to be in front of Uxie too, so they could click Willow, expecting a switch, but the worst case would probably just be Sludge Bomb, but you have a Lum in case you do get. And again, once you bring in Palafin and Weezing is in, they're probably going to think like, oh, they might think it's a good matchup, but if you could just dent that thing with the Wave Crash, like, you're going to win with the other Pokemon, really. There shouldn't be a reason why you shouldn't, I think. Looking at it, maybe AV Torn is kind of the one thing that's annoying, since these three guys are special. But you should still do a good
Yeah.
chunk. Let's check how much Enamorous does to Torn. Or Scarf, or Timid, Torn. Oh. Okay, so
The other
this...
thing as well is we could probably like run Ice Beam depending on if it gets the Oko on Torn at like +2 Ice Beam might not be too bad on Darkrai.
Let's see. So we're gonna check Assault Vest because that's like worst case. So again, with Assault Vest, they're not brutes, so they can come in. They would probably come in at 76 if you get the rocks up. Do they have removal? They do have spin. Okay, they have spin, but they would. Our rocker beats the spinner. Like, that's the whole point of Grottle here.
They also have a defog
On
on
Wheezing.
the Wheezing.
I think that's more than fine for us though if we get a free, because then we go Palafin for free, right? Like if they defog as we go Palafin, like,
Yep.
then they kind of have to pick what we're gonna do. But anyways, so assuming we get to keep the rocks up, they would come in at 76. So we would just need very little chip for like Moonblast to choose shot the AV Torn. What about like you said, Darkrai with, what are we, Black Glasses? Black Glasses at +2. Yeah, so it would kill after rocks if it's Ice Beam. This again would be a very low chance. So it would probably be over Hypnosis then if we do want to run Ice Beam just for that reason. And then Raging Bull we could check too. I'm not going to do this set, I'll just do the... Let's see.
I feel like Darkrai might be able to drop like the Black Glasses maybe, because it was originally there just to like kill the Torn, right? But if we have Ice Beam,
yeah,
then we don't really need them anymore. So I guess we could go like, I don't know, Chople Lum or like Boots. Probably sounds pretty decent here.
Yeah, we could do that.
I feel like I might go towards that.
So at so we two-shot it if we're just not neutral. If you're just neutral, if it's AV. But again, it's not going to be doing... This is max special attack too, which is probably not going to be if it's AV. But yeah, they still don't do a ton to us. So, but you said you wanted to do Boots?
Yeah, I think Boots are like Expert Belt, but like I don't think we need the Expert Belt here because rocks are probably gonna stay up, right? I mean,
yeah, no, I don't think Expert Belt is the click here. I think it's either Boots or Glasses.
Yeah, I think I'd go Boots here then.
Okay, and then you said, did you want Ice Beam or no?
Yeah, I think I want it.
Okay.
I feel like it's just consistent, right? Because if they do bring the Salt Vest Torn, then being able to Oko that's really huge.
So let's go back to Darkrai. So +2 after, +2 after rocks. If no rocks are up, then we don't kill it. But again, Darkrai is still pretty bulky, where it can take a hit anyway if it has to. It's probably not gonna run Focus Blast. If it does, it'd have to be max special attack, and it's still a roll in your favor and all that stuff. So yeah, that's not bad. If you know for sure like it's Assault Vest, right, and it's at 100%, you're gonna want a Dark Pulse first. Because if you flinch them, then you're good. You don't want to go... It's a better chance to flinch than Beam, right? But that's only if you know it's a Soul Vest and it's at 100% and all that. Otherwise, Ice Beam is probably just better. So, Alright, so what were we doing with this guy? We wanted one move. Uh,
Oh, we were talking about like wheezing earlier.
yeah, well,
So
we
I guess
decided Palafin's gonna be the with lump.
yeah. Okay, I think I might go with like the rest sleep talk set then, because the main reason why I wanted to run this was like mainly for the wheezing.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing as well, right? Like obviously Palafin can't come in,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean they wouldn't. I don't know. I don't think they would keep their wheezing expecting a no psychic Uxie, because that could like pretty feasibly come into their team, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't. Weezing should not be in front of Uxie. It's just Weezing's gonna come in on probably Urinam or whatever. And two, you have to think of situations like, let's say Urinam is in versus Great Tusk, or your Darkrai is in versus Great Tusk. That's a turn where if the Great Tusk is in range of Psychic, like you're gonna want to click Psychic there just to cover the switch, because it still kills what's in front of you. If it kills it, if it doesn't, then Moonblast is probably safer. Or well, for Darkrai, you would click Psychic anyway, because Dark Pulse you're not gonna click. You can click Ice Beam maybe as a middle ground versus Tusk, if, again, but I would only click things that killed the Tusk and cover the switch.
Yeah.
You don't want to just over predict and lose your Pokemon there. Unless you're like way ahead, then maybe you can, but even then, well, actually no, you'd probably over predict if you're behind, not if you're ahead. If you're ahead, you're gonna play safer. But yeah, I like this set. This is fine, yeah, for sure. Then again, we don't have removal, so they could. I mean, they have Toxic Spike. We're not bringing Arbok either, so Boots could definitely be clutch if they do decide to get that up. Toxic Spike doesn't really hit like it hit like half your team, I'd say. But we have Lumberry, so that
Doesn't
wouldn't be
really
first time.
doesn't really hit the most important ones though, because like an Am, Darkrai, those are like kind of the main things, right?
Yeah.
And both could probably come in before they get it up.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, that's another thing too. I do think Bolt coming in earlier is definitely ideal here to avoid that and to just break early. So, yeah, we can go if we do go the Sleep Talk rest. I do think Lefties is better than Citrus.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
we'll do that. And then we're gonna just be max spit def with a lefties number 352, just like that. That is fine. So again, this is going to be your switch into Torn and Kyurem. Kyurem, let's say you switch this in and a Dragon Dances right away. Uxie is naturally bulky enough to where you can still live a +1 and then U-turn. I think, however, you go for Encore, not U-turn. Okay, because
yeah,
if they Dragon Dance, you bring in Uxie. It would be kind of crazy if they do this, but they can simply just DD one more time, and then you probably just lose. So you want to trap him into, if he does DD again, like obviously that's good, he gets nothing out of it. But even if he does click Icicle Spear or Outrage, whatever you lock him into, like you're gonna have a resist to one of the attacks he goes for, so you don't just lose. DD would probably be worst case scenario though. If he's sub or if he just attacks you, then you can just, well, if he's sub, you have to Encore him to trap him into a move. Well, we could also run like Encore maybe on something else too, but it just depends. If he clicks Substitute as you bring in Uxie, I would probably Encore him.
yeah, because they could also be like Dragon Dance sub, right?
They could do
and
that
like,
too.
and
Yeah.
it doesn't really gain them much if they do go for Dragon Dance and they get Encored. But at the same time, if it does go right for them, then it's like they kind of just win the game there.
Yeah. So let's say they sub, you bring in Uxie, and then they go for like just an Ice Beam, right? And then you Encore. That's something where the next turn, if you don't want to hard switch into Palafin to take an Ice Beam, you can slow U-turn and take the extra hit with Uxie. Again, your split F, and then you can go Palafin and just, do whatever. You might be able to go like Terra Bolt too, but we gotta change this to Fairy type. But because you probably still win the 1v1, but you'll just take a shitload of damage. So it's just up to you kind of what pieces you have and everything. I think Kyurem is probably the trickiest Pokemon for you in this matchup though. That's probably like the
Yeah,
Pokemon
that definitely
probably
has to play around it.
Yeah. Again, we do have something that's faster than +1, which is always nice. And you do have Jet Punch or what it's worth. It's probably not gonna do too much, but anyways, okay, so let's do Groudle. Groudle's pretty easy, it's just Fizz Def, right?
Yep.
Rocks we're gonna need a grass move for Ogerpon / Tusk. I don't even know this thing's strongest grass move. Is it like Seed Bomb?
probably like. Actually, what are its attacking stats?
It's gonna have to be physical.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's physical
Yeah,
against
I guess
Ogrepon
Seed
harder.
Bomb.
Yeah, I think Seed Bomb is the hardest. I think like Petal Blizzard or anything. Okay, so Seed Bomb. We probably want Synth here.
Yeah, I think so for sure.
Synth, and then the only thing with Grottle is it's pretty much like a free switch into something like Torn. So you could do, there's two things you could do. You could just do Roar if you want to have Roar just so you're not setup fodder. Holy shit, this thing gets Cell Smash.
Yep.
Yeah, too bad this thing is slow as hell. Huh. You could do Roar, you could do like Body Slam if you want to just fish for para, but that's, you know, it's not really too reliable. It's really a Leech Seed, I suppose, if you want.
I mean, Leech Seed could help with like Tusk, right? Because if they're like, I don't know, bulk up or something, they could probably just like 1v1 this thing if they don't have if I don't have the Leech Seed, right?
You're talking
Because I
about
don't know how much Seed Bomb's gonna do.
Great Tusk to Grottle?
Yeah, like if they're set up with like bulk up, right?
I mean, how much do you think Grottle's gonna take from Great Tusk? Let's see. Okay. Oh, jolly! Holy shit! Oops. Let's see. We'll just leave the last slot. Grottle versus Tusk, and you're saying if you switch in on a bulk up, that's like worst case scenario.
Yeah. No, I'm saying that's why Leech Seed would be good, right? Because then it wouldn't be able to kind of like annoy me. Because I don't know if it's able to like actually break through me if I don't have like that Leech Seed.
Okay. So this is. Do you want to do max attack or max HP?
I think max HP.
Okay, so let's say worst case scenario is they bulk up, right, as you switch in, so they're already at boosted. So their hardest hitting move would be like close. Okay, it would be close combat, but they would drop their defenses, so I don't know if that would be ideal. But if that is the case, you're gonna win that 1v1 because you also have synthesis too. Remember that. So they would have to bulk up like a lot, and they don't have recovery.
Yeah.
It would have to be like bulk up lefties probably. But again, what did I say could be the last move, which would beat that?
Roar, right? Or
Yeah, roar. Yeah. So even that type of set, like Guardle should never lose to Great Tusk. Roar could be good because this is a rocker too, right? So, you know, if they pivot, they're gonna pivot. If they're switching, like they have to pivot to. It's gonna be Torn. Torn, maybe Wheezing, but I think Roar just covers everything because Leech could be nice, but I'm just very scared of like just getting subbed on.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Because also, like, during like, the late game, right, if I don't need, like, Grottle anymore and they bring out Kira, I'm, like, expecting to, like, I don't know, Dragon Dance on me or something,
yeah,
or, like, sub, I could just roar it out, so that gives me some extra safety.
Yeah, and it for what it's worth, too, in case Carbink does come and it is, like, you know, Iron Defense Body Press, which it could come, honestly, versus you, if it's, like, Spit F with Iron Defense Body Press, you know, you have Roar on this guy, too, so... That's another kind of thing versus it. So I do think, I think this team is pretty good. And then Palafin, we know Lumberry. We're going to lead Palafin just so you can get your thing off. I think Palafin's a pretty solid lead here. Again, you want to deny hazards because you don't have removal. So I think versus something like a Carbink lead or like a Tusk lead, I think Taunt is good here. You're gonna be pretty much max speed. You're gonna want to speed creep the Kiram with this guy for sure, because you want to kill it with a fighting move. So you definitely want Jet Punch. You definitely need close combat because he has 2 Ward Absorbers, and I think Wave Crash plus Taunt is the final 2 moves. I don't know if there's anything else that you think could be better here.
No, I think that's fine. Like, unless we're going like a special Palafin, but I feel like just full physical is better anyways.
Special would be like Surf Boom Burst or something, right?
Yeah.
You could, like, you definitely could. It'll do... Actually, I don't know. Does it get like a fighting move too for... It would just be Boom Burst for Kiram? What's its special attack? That's the wrong form.
I think it's like 100.
106. Maybe special is okay here.
I feel like the boom burst mid ground is pretty nice, but I don't know. The main problem with that would kind of just be like if they do bring like Assault Vest Torn, I feel like that does actually end up being a pretty good check to Palafin, right? And my team's already kind of like Torn isn't like amazing versus my team, but if they do have Assault Vest, they kind of beat most of my mons one-on-one.
Yeah, so you would probably still run Jet Punch even if you're special. Let me see how much it's doing to like Ogre Pawn. Wrong Ogre Pawn. Okay. This is choice banning. Get the hell out of here. Let's say we're gonna be timid with Boom Burst. Holy shit.
That's okay. I thought it'd be more, honestly.
Yeah, so the thing is with Palafin though too, you know, you're gonna be split versus Ogre, you're slower anyway. So you'd only get a hit off of it if he switches in. If you use reveal special, I think he will switch it in probably every time. But if you're like, how much does? Let me see how much. Okay, let's just say your scarf. I want to see how much Wave Crash does to Palafin or to this guy. So it does more. Because like I'm trying to think, if you have Palafin versus like Wheezing, like you're gonna be clicking Wave Crash, right? Like just Wave Crash makes the most sense because even if they go Kiram, you kill it with a fighting move after. And if they go Lantern, if they have Lantern, maybe you can like think to. Even then though, I would still click it because then you confirm it's either Volt Absorb or Water Absorb too. And then Close Combat would still do a shitload to it. You could pivot Uxie if you want on it, but I think just Wave Crash is better because it just does more to everything. And again, if you dent the Wheezing, like that's really good for us. Your Jet Punch would be
and they'll probably they might even be like Spadef Wheezing as well, right? That would make it a lot harder for Palafin to break through it.
Yeah, it should be. It really should be a Spadef Wheezing. I'd be shocked if it was not Spadef in this game. So let's see how much you're doing actually to Spadef Wheezing. Yeah, you're gonna two-shot that guy. Yeah, so they just really don't have a switch. So you can honestly throw this in versus Wheezing. Even if they pop your Lum on the switch in, you could still do around like 60 with Wave Crash, and then let's say you get burned, like that's still okay. I would probably taunt him the following turn just to prevent you know, Pain Split. But I still think using Palafin as just a trade for Wheezing will benefit your team like way better in the long run. So
yeah, I don't think Palafin doesn't really have the opportunity to like sweep here, right? Because of the Ogre Pawn and the Kira and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can never get past Ogre Pawn, but you know, we got Big Grotto. Let's check how Grotto does versus Ogre Pawn too. What am I doing here? Oh, this is not. It's not Ogre Pawn. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like, I don't know what this thing even does. Like, U-turn is probably the strongest hitting move, right? Doesn't even do that much. So, like, we have a pretty good chance to get up rocks versus Tusk and Ogre Pawn too, which is nice. Like, you're really just not under threat versus those guys, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, especially Ogre Pawn, right? Like, that takes like 20% from IV control.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Grotto is OP. You have to name Grotto Undead, okay?
Okay.
I don't know, you probably do you even know who Undead is?
I know, well, I don't like know him, but like I've heard his name.
You know him? Okay. Yeah, there's just a funny replay where he just gets owned by a Grottle, so everyone names their Grottos Undead. Taunt, yeah, we said so. Okay, yeah, so let's go over leads too because we can't have another brain fire with the lead here. So yeah, I do think this is a pretty good lead, and then just to get your form off because you don't want to not have your form off. So Palafin versus Torn, I think is a pretty easy click for you.
I think it's well, I feel like maybe. Well, the two things I think would be good would be either Bolt or Uxie. I feel like I feel like both might be better, right? Because they can't really threaten it, and it might go for like I don't know, like a knockoff or something, or
Yeah,
well,
I do think knockoff would be their click if they have it for our lead here.
yeah. I think it just depends if they're like I don't know, Terra Steel on like Lantern,
Yeah.
but even then, I guess it wouldn't be too bad to kind of go into it because if they Terra their Lantern early on, that I guess that also means they can't Terra their Ogre Pawn, so that pretty much does nothing into the grotto.
So yeah, it's fine. So it would just suck if they U-turn, because then you show your booster speed and then they get to go into whatever they want. They'd probably go into Ogre Pawn just to get a big head off, and then they probably switch to something else. Or if they have Lantern, they can go into that. It's just the way I think you get the most out of Raging Bull is if you bring it in, like you have a free switch, or like you turn with Uxie, and then you could bring it into a favorable matchup. If they get to pick what they want to go in versus you on a free switch, like it can still probably 1v1 anything, but you're not going to get as much as you can. It is the best play though for you if they click anything but U-turn versus a Palafin lead. So it's tough. I don't think they should click U-turn. I think they should click knockoff if they have it. I don't think they'll just click like Hurricane or anything. That doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. Unless, yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on their set. If they're AV, I'm pretty sure they're going to click knockoff. So if they're like a setup set, like with nasty plot, I don't know if they would click plot right away. They probably could, just because they're not going to be really under a ton of threat versus regular Palafin. If they do plot though, that's also pretty good for you, right? Because I don't know, you probably still 1v1 it, right? Like, let's say they plot as you go bolt, right? They're at +2. It might be better to not Terra then, actually. You can not Terra, and then you'll be faster because again you're fast with the speed. So in that scenario, you should be right.
Yeah, the other thing as well is I don't think there's really a need to Terra the bolt immediately. Like the only thing I could think of is just like if they're Icy Wind.
Yeah,
which
versus,
I mean,
versus
could
Torn,
help.
no. Yeah, versus Torn, you're not going to Terra, no. You're going to Terra versus things like Tusk or Kiram or, something like that, obviously. Or Sableye, just to Terra Blast that. But so this is a scenario where, like, let's say they do plot, right, and you bring in the Bolt. You're faster, you're not going to Terra. This is a scenario where I think you actually would be good to Calm Mind, actually. Just, they're +2, you would go to +1 to Spadef. And then you're going to be like under no threat. Then you can Thunderbolt the next turn. Like, Torn is a pretty free like Calm Mind target in my opinion. Because they're just not going to be doing a ton to you. Even if they're Sableye, like they're not going to go hard Sableye on a Terra Fairy Bolt, right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
No.
So that's a scenario where I do think a Calm Mind does make sense. It's just knowing. I wouldn't click sub really, because again, they could just attack it. Maybe if they're Assault Vest. If they're Assault, so like if they're knockoff, right? And then you bring in the Bolt, so you still have your booster speed, so you're faster. If they're Assault Vest, they're gonna click U-turn. They're not gonna just hard switch because they can live any hit, right? Because they're Assault Vest. So that's a turn where like maybe you shouldn't Calm Mind, because if they U-turn and they have Sableye, you're gonna get Encored. So it's just kind of, you kind of have to understand like what could happen and what's the best click. So that's literally two different scenarios versus the same Pokemon, where one click is right in one scenario and the other click is right in the other. You get me?
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of considering Uxie more now, just because of like the U-turn, right? Because I feel like if they do, like knockoff would definitely be better if they have bolts. But if I go into bolt, but if they do go for the U-turn, that's like, I feel like Uxie's just pretty safe into them, right? Because they can't really do anything versus it. Like they're not gonna switch in like Great Tusk into Uxie. No way.
Okay, so let's say they U-turn it as you go Uxie, right? What are they gonna bring in?
I feel like probably like the Ogre Pawn or like the Lantern would be like probably what I'd assume.
Probably Ogre
And
Pawn, yeah, if they have it.
yeah,
So if they go Ogre
and at that
Pawn,
point I just go into Grottle at that
yeah,
point. I think.
you don't U-turn, you just go hard Grottle. You don't want to take a hit on Uxie, and then that's fine. And then from there you can. Worst case, maybe they have knockoff on Ogre Pawn too, but you know, if they do it, it is what it is. I still think you beat a 1v1, but you'd probably just click rocks that turn. Yeah, so that's fine. So yeah, that's Palafin versus Torn lead. But you do, like I said, you do want to try to get Bolt in pretty early or even mid game just to kind of do its thing. You don't want to leave it in the back because if you leave it in the back, like your other Pokemon are probably not going to be able to like do its thing to kind of have your Darkrai win the game or something. Like I think this Raging Bolt set, like something like Darkrai coming in early, I don't think it's going to be putting in as much work as you would think. Like I think this is a good set to just kind of clean up. Whereas Bolt can break things even if it's at 100% because of this set. So I do think when you have Uxie in and you click U-turn, like versus a lot of things, you're gonna want to bring in Bolt. Maybe not, like I said,
Okay.
like not initially, like you said. Like I think Uxie probably is the better play into Torn Lead one, but if you bring in Uxie and let's say they Ice Beam on Kyurem, right, and you U-turn, you can go Bolt after, as long as it's not like Specs or something. You'll be faster anyway, and you can Calm Mind versus Kyurem if you know it's special, right? And then you're gonna threaten it with a Oko. So there's a lot of situations where you can still bring in Bolt to just do its thing. You just have to do it safely. That's all.
If I do go into Uxie, like if I U-turn out into like Bolt on the Kyurem, right, and it's not Specs, like, and they have a Sableye, what do you think would be kind of like the click there? Because I feel like Calm Mind would still be good. Like I don't think they would go into Encore Sableye like against the Terra Fairy Bolt. But like once they see the set though, that's like my main kind of worry.
So you're saying Kyurem like Ice Beams you and then you slow U-turn into Raging Bolt?
Yeah.
So one, I would just make sure it's not like, well, it probably can still be Specs because again, you'd come in. I do think Calm Minding is correct because yeah, you threaten it immediately with a Terra Blast. You're faster. So yeah, they should not go Sableye there. I do think Calm Mind is ideal for sure.
Okay.
If they do make the Psychopath play, then you could make a better play and you could just go hard into something expecting Encore, or you can you can just try to kill it and then at least make them reveal Encore. It's up to you. But the only reason they would do that is if like the game is probably like a lot of Pokemon are probably weakened or chipped and he feels like he doesn't need Sableye, because that realistically is a sack on his part because you could easily just Terra Blast, right?
Yeah, and I think that would only happen if they like don't have Lantern. Because I feel like if they do have Lantern, then that's probably the most likely switch into Bolt.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah, so I do think Calm Mind versus, as long as you know it's special too, by the way. If it's physical, like you might want to just take your hit on it. It just really depends. It could also be like a screen weakness policy Kyurem. That could be a bit scary. That's also why I think getting rocks up could be nice, because so you know it's not boots. Like it's gonna be some item. If it's not boots, it's either going to be probably Scarf Specs or policy. I think it's not going to be like a resist berry. I don't think here. Doesn't really make sense. Lumberry probably doesn't make sense either. Lumberry would just be for like Darkrai Hypnosis maybe, but yeah, it's probably Scarf Specs or policy if it's not boots. So, all right.
I mean, it could be like Loaded Dice maybe.
Oh yeah, that too. I forgot about that. Yep, Loaded Dice DD makes a lot of sense too. Okay, so that's Palafin versus Tornly. What about Palafin versus Tusk?
I feel like Grottle is okay. I don't know, it just kind of depends if I feel like I'm okay with playing like the Rocks versus Rocks matchup. Actually, no, I think I should go into Grottle, because like worst case, I will like be playing Rocks versus Rocks. But the other thing I'm worried about, right, if he just goes, because like Palafin isn't like really too threatening into Tusk, right? So I can like see if they maybe like stay in. So, and if they do go for like a knockoff or like close combat or something, that could put me in kind of a bad spot.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I think Grottle probably here.
Okay. So now that I'm thinking about it, like the taunt on, so their rockers are what? Tusk and Carbink.
Hmm.
So taunt to stop rocks. Taunt could be good, like we said, for the pain split, or even if you could taunt to, let's say they Will-O-Wisp, right, and then you eat the Lumberry. You could taunt the following turn too for wheezing to not get burned if you don't want to. Taunt is mainly for like a Carbink, for like iron defensing or resting or spiking or whatever. It doesn't really help versus much else. And then like I said, for wheezing. So yes, it'd be very risky to taunt Great Tusk. If it's a lead Tusk though, if it's a lead Tusk, it's probably going to have hazards, or it's going to be a booster probably right away. Certainly if it's like booster attack, you have to go Grottle. I think Grottle is just a safe play too if you want to just kind of scout what he wants to do. I'm kind of curious though. I didn't check. This thing gets Mega Horn, right? Or does it not actually?
The Tusk?
Yeah, does it?
Yeah, it does.
It does. You sure? Okay. Let's check Mega Horn. Let's say it's booster attack too. Why not? Worst case scenario. Okay, booster attack Mega Horn would be like the one thing that could honestly do a lot. Would they have Mega Horn versus our team? Let's see.
It could be a possibility, right? Because it smacks Uxie as well as the
Oh yeah,
Grottle.
Uxie. Okay, so they definitely could have it. So this is booster attack Mega Horn, which is like worst case scenario. But I still think that's fine because I don't know if they would raw Mega Horn turn 1 versus Palafin. And if they don't, just Mega Horn off the bat, like if they click anything else, like, I don't know, like a fighting move, I guess would be worst case scenario for Grottle. Like between fighting move and headlong, obviously. Let's see how much. Okay, so they would need 2 high rolls to... They would need 2 high rolls to close combat into Mega Horn kill you. Okay, so this is... So what you could do, if it is booster attack, because that is worst case scenario, I still think you make the Grotto play initially, right? But what you could do after is you could pivot Enam. Because versus Grotto, right, they're not clicking a steel move. They're going to either click probably CC or Mega Horn, I think, right?
Yeah. Well,
So,
they could also have Ice Spinner.
so
Just because it hits like B&M.
And maybe Bolt before Terra, yeah, and Grotto. They could for sure. So then, okay, here's another thing you could do. If you pivot undead. If you pivot Grotto on a, let's say, a fighting move, right? You could synthesis if you want to scout the first time, because again, they need 2 high rolls, CC into Mega Horn to kill you, and if they click Ice Spinner, like that's not gonna. I'm pretty sure CC does more, right? So yeah, CC does more. So that's up to you if you want to synthesis first to make sure they have the Mega Horn, and then you could pivot Enam if you live, or we can go hard Enam right away.
I feel like
it's up to you.
I feel like Synth is probably fine, right? Because then that also keeps me healthy if it comes in another time.
It could also, well, you would synth on, and then yeah, you'd be at like 50 probably. Yeah, after like 55 maybe. It probably also matters on what they click the first turn, right? If they click, if they hard predict and go Mega Horn right away and you take over half, then I would probably pivot Enam, because they're gonna Mega Horn twice to kill you, or CC. They're not gonna. Okay. Also, I don't think they're gonna have Mega Horn plus Ice Spinner. I think that's like way too much coverage for like a Grottle. Because if you're right, they're gonna have either knockoff or Mega Horn for Uxie. That makes a lot of sense. So because the Mega Horn also covers the Grottle, I don't think it makes sense for them to run Spinner here, because they could easily just run a, what's it called, Heavy Slam, if they want to hit like Enam super hard. If they're a booster attack or booster speed set, they're gonna probably be spin and then Earthquake, CC, coverage move, probably Mega Horn. I had to guess.
I feel like I feel like it depends if they bring Carbink as well, right? Because if they do have the Carbink, that's probably their rocker. If they do have that kind of like booster set.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But if they don't have Carbink, right, they might like if they're like I don't know booster speed, they might just have like rocks two attacks because like well I don't know it's kind of hard for them to run just like spin and rocks because then they lose
No.
out on like
Yeah, they
Uxie
can.
or the Enam.
Yeah, they can. They have to have one of those and then 3 attacks probably, or maybe neither and have like bulk up and 3 attacks.
Okay.
So, especially if they have like Wheezing with defog, then they're probably not gonna need spin. So, it also might depend on their booster. Like if their booster speed, then you know like they're not gonna have spin. They'll probably have bulk up. Compared to booster attack, they might have spin. You know. So
Yeah.
it's just a lot of things.
I mean, booster speed's like pretty free into Grottle, right? I don't know if they can really do much besides like knocking.
Yeah, no, booster speed Grottle's good. So, yep, that's another scenario where you might have to just decide, like, based on what they click the first turn, like, what you think is best. But I do think probably going Grottle initially with the Palafin Tusk Leaf is probably your best play, yeah. Okay. Alright, Palafin versus Ogerpon.
So it's definitely another Grottle switch.
Yep, I know, arguments there. I don't think they can really do anything. Worst case, again, would probably be U-turn into, like, Torn. Then you just go Uxie, right? Or U-turn into Kyurem, you go Uxie, right? So that's fine. Alright, Palafin into Kyurem.
I feel like I think I have to go Uxie here. Like I don't really have another switch in.
Yep, I agree. Palafin into Wheezing.
Probably just Uxie again. Like they're gonna probably be like scared out, right? They don't want because I'm gonna probably like well they're gonna assume I'm gonna get like rocks up or like knock or whatever, and I don't think they'd want Wheezing to kind of take that chip or give up free opportunity.
So you're saying Palafin versus Wheezing, you're gonna go Uxie?
Yeah, and then just like you turn out after.
And then you turn what back to Palafin? If they stay in?
If they stay in.
Faster.
If they stay in, yeah.
Can you make it? I wonder if you can make it so. I don't think you can. Uxie's too naturally fast, unfortunately. $175. No speed, they're going to be slower. Damn. Okay, yeah, so. Yeah, that's fine. Going Wheezing initially. If they lead Wheezing, they're probably leading it to set up Toxic Spike, maybe? Especially if they see no Arbok, because we have no removal.
Do you think I should just like taunt in that case?
Maybe. Yeah, because that'd be really weird to lead it if it's not for that, right?
Yeah, okay.
So let's see. The worst case is like they just sludge bomb you, which I don't think they would ever do. But let's see how much it does to baby Palafin.
I mean, they might also just go for like a toxic if they lead this thing, right? To like get chip on the Uxie.
Yeah.
So
okay.
taunt also kind of stops that.
Yeah, sludge bomb isn't the worst case. You would take 40, and then the Lumberry would save you from the poison. And then you prevent hazards. So after you do that, so then you know he has to attack. What are you going into?
I think then I'll go into the Uxie after I taunt it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So you taunt it, and then you go Uxie on a Sludge Bomb. You might get poisoned, whatever. Then what do you do?
Probably just U-turn at that point.
Yeah, U-turn. Okay, then you go into what, Palafin to take another Sludge Bomb potentially.
Yeah, if they stay into the Wheezing, then I'll go into Palafin, I guess.
So you'd be taking 40 plus 30 already from Palafin, and there's a chance you can get double poison, so you'd be at like 30%. So this is a bit like wonky, kinda.
Yeah. Maybe then I have to go Uxie on the first turn. Because like taunting like on a Toxic Spikes would be really good. I feel like it just depends if I need to keep Toxic Spikes off. Because it would definitely be really annoying for the Bolt and like the Grottle. So I think maybe taunt would be good here.
Yeah, that's what we said. So, but if they taunt and then you just sludge and like they just sludge bomb, like you would take 40 from baby, then Uxie would take another one. Then you would turn into Palafin to take another Sludge Bomb. Like this Wheezing would just be putting in overtime. Because yeah, we don't have a poison resist on this. What's the poison resist for? Oh, Rhyperior and Arbok. We're not reading. Okay. How much does Oh, it doesn't do shit. Um, you
I
could.
don't think they would. Well, the thing is though, I don't think they would stay into wheezing on the Uxie, right? Because like, let's say they might think of like psychic, right?
Yeah, or just
And
knock
in
off
that
or
case, or
something.
like knock, right?
Yeah,
Because they
yeah.
really need it for the NM and like Darkrai, right? So I think it's probably safe. Like even like the worst case scenario, like they go for like double sludge bomb. I feel like that's like incredibly unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it does happen and they do get the double poisons, like I still can go Palafin and kind of like hit something hard, right? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, Palafin is useful here, but it's pretty. It's not necessarily needed for like the end game and all that. It's just kind of to break through, keep the wheezing in check, right? Whittle it down.
Yeah, I agree. They really shouldn't stay in with Uxie versus Weezing. So yeah, I do think Taunt is probably correct versus a Weezing lead. Okay, versus Lantern. Again, you do have to look at their Terra, but you're probably just gonna go Uxie, right? I would think.
Yeah, I think Uxie, because like Ice Beam probably hits Crottle pretty hard, right? And they might even be like, I don't know, like offensively invested or something like that.
Yeah, they're gonna realistically they're just gonna click Volt Switch versus lead Palafin because no immunity.
No
So,
grounds, yeah.
yeah. So they would just Volt Switch. You'd bring in Uxie, they'd bring in again back to the scenario. They'd probably bring in like Ogre or something, maybe Carbink. I don't know. But yeah, we're fine into those, so that's good. That's okay. Sableye lead versus Palafin. It's Prankster, so, but it can probably it'll probably just knock off if I had to guess.
Can it do anything to Darkrai?
It just knock off really. That's the only thing. Knock off or Nightshade.
I don't know. Darkrai sounds pretty good because it just kind of like beats it, but I don't know how much progress it would necessarily make at the beginning.
I think you actually probably go Bolt.
Bolt
versus Sableye, yeah. Because again, you're
What do
showing
you think?
Terra
Just
Fairy.
like go for a raw Terra Blast or go for Combine?
I think in that situation, you can just go for. Well, I think it depends. So, if they have a Carbink, well, Carbink can't do shit though. So I think initially versus Sableye, like let's say you bring it on like a knockoff or something. Let's see. Oh, it's inactive, yeah. Okay, so yeah, it'll be doing this much to you. Yeah, so I think you can initially just Terra Blast because what are they going to switch into your Terra attack? Weezing?
Yeah, I mean, it would probably just be like Wheezing or like Lantern, but then if it is Lantern, I can just kind of sub up, or if it's Wheezing, then I just kind of. I think I just hit the Wheezing, right? Just to kind of chip it down for an end.
Yeah, because so Terra Blast into T-Bow will definitely do a shitload to it. Let's see how much Sludge Bomb does to you. Probably do like half, maybe. Yeah, like a little bit under half. I think you do have to be careful though. If they have Sableye plus Lantern, again, if you bring it in versus Raging Bolt and you Terra Blast and they just go Lantern, yes, it is sub fodder, but they can slow Volt Switch into Encore. So that's another thing that you just have to be very careful of. If there's Lantern and no Sableye, yeah, obviously you're gonna sub on that thing all day. But it depends because even Lantern, like Lantern's not gonna do a ton to you. Like you might be able to just, this is worst case scenario. You're not gonna do a ton to it either, but you might be able just to throw off another Terra Blast if you want, in case you're scared of the Volt Switch into Encore. They would have to bring both, which means they don't have one of these top 5 Pokemon though, which would be kind of scary. Oh my god, I gotta cut that out, I think. Here goes my full name. That's
okay.
Yeah, I'll cut that out. But yeah, so it's just kind of like, again, looking at what 6 they bring. Honestly, I highly doubt Lantern plus Sableye comes just because, like, I think Carbon could come too, and they can't bring these 3 guys, so.
Yeah, well, if they do bring Sableye plus Lantern, I think that would be really good for me, actually, because then, like, they either don't have, like, one of their top 5, and they're all pretty important and kind of taking on my team, I feel.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, versus Sableye, I think you're okay to actually just go Hard Bolt.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't lose an item on anything else or whatever, so. And then versus Carbink, I think you just taunt to prevent spikes or whatever he wants to do. You're not really into threat versus Carbink.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty free.
yeah, you can just taunt, and then you could probably even go Grottle to get up your rocks, or you can go something else. Probably Grottle, yeah, just to get up your rocks versus Carbink. So, but yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. I don't know if there's anything else that's kind of concerning you, or what do you think?
I feel like team overall is pretty good. The only one thing I'm kind of debating on now is if I should go back to that Black Glasses Hypnosis set, just in case they are like carbing. Because
Well, Carbink
if
is
they
gonna
are like a
resist.
Spadef carbing, that would be kind of annoying to break through with Darkrai.
Well, that wouldn't really help though, because it resists Dark, does it not?
No,
Carbink?
I'm saying if I had Hypnosis, right, then I could like put it to sleep,
Oh, oh,
and I
oh,
could
oh,
kind of
oh,
like blow it
oh,
over with Psychic and stuff like that.
oh, I see, I see.
Yeah. I would have to go back to Black Glasses for the Torn
Yeah, Black
if I
Glasses,
did drop Ice
Hypnosis.
Beam.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, I think either works, man. It's just your preference.
Okay, I think I will go for the Hypnosis then.
Yeah, you love the Hypnosis. Okay.
Yep, it's a good move.
It's very, again, you have a pretty good Pokemon into Carbink. You have a couple actually, so you should really only go for that Hypnosis if you have to versus Carbink. I don't think it's worth, because if you miss, you just probably die to a body press or take a shitload.
Yeah.
So definitely weigh your risk versus reward in that scenario and see if you can afford to not risk it at all. But yeah, I think this team is good. When did you say you're playing your game?
No, I'm playing it tomorrow. I think at 10 or
Okay.
9.
All right,
Let
cool.
me see.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
Yeah, 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh shit, AM. Okay, never mind. I won't be up. But yeah, I think this team is good. Again, stick to your game plan. Lead Palafin. Try to win with Darkrai. Raging, dude. Honestly, Raging Ball might put in a lot of work too, and to the point where just Enam can probably win too. So get Enam in as much as possible for sure too. And again, you saw the healing wish, so don't forget about that. So that's gonna do it. Again, thank you for joining me once again, my guy. Good luck in your game.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes, sir. And
Thank
we'll
you.
see how you do. Of course. Alright guys, we're here for the battle for Pampey versus the Mist Mesh. He actually played pretty much right after we finished building, so I'm literally recording this right after. One last look at the pace. Again, our plan was just to lead with that Palafin, and we'll see what happens. So I did actually watch this game live, and I did talk to him a little bit after, so a lot of things I say in this video I'm going to be repeating but for him, but it's all good. So they lead Ogerpon. We do make the correct play and just have to go into Grottle, and then they bring in Kyurem. And like we said, we're just going to go into Uxie here to see what this Kyurem wants to do. It reveals to be actually physical, so it's probably going to be like DD loaded dice if I had to guess. He gets 4 hits, and then Uxie does U-turn as we bring in, gets a crit, as we bring in Palafin here. So this is definitely, in my opinion, just the freest Wave Crash. He close combats, making a prediction probably into, he said he wanted to predict Water Absorb Lantern. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is their Terra is obviously Ogerpon, and then Lantern is Terra Fairy. Okay, so one thing I said to him too is, because Lantern is Terra Fairy and it does have the ability Volt Absorb, it's pretty clear that that's probably going to be their Raging Bolt check, because it resists both of its stab, or is immune to one stab. But he didn't really like think of that before the game started, which is fine. But so even if he didn't see that, right, like, and he said he was predicting close combat, or he was predicting Water Absorb Lantern. The reason why Wave Crash is so much better here is because, one, it'll kill the Carbink, the thing that's we're in front of. 2, it'll 2-shot the Weezing, which is a likely switch into a Palafin with like a Fizdef Weezing, and it'll also like dent the Weezing for our other Pokemon that we said we needed to dent it for. 3, if they even go into the Water Absorb Lantern, that's still information that's useful for our team. That means that Raging Bull can freely click Thunderbolt into that thing. Even if it Terra Fairies, we can still Thunderbolt that thing. So it's just very useful information. The only play where like we technically wouldn't get anything out of Wave Crashing here is if they go hard into Ogerpon, because they are still obviously Water Absorb. But if we CC'd, like, it's still going to do over half to Ogerpon, so that's a bit risky for them. So that's why Wave Crash is certainly the play there versus Carbink. Definitely a misplay, but it is what it is. And then to follow it up, he makes, unfortunately, another big misplay that I think is going to pretty much put us behind a lot this game. So here, he CCs. Now he stays in, which I think is correct, but he doesn't click Taunt. He clicks Wave Crash, and then as you guys can see, it does over half to Wheezing, so it would have two-shot if we clicked it the turn before. But here, I think you just got to click Taunt, man. We talked about it. Taunt is certainly the best play there because, again, we talked about how bad Toxic Spikes is for our team. We don't have any removal. Arbok is our grounded poison, which is a low-tier Pokemon. We didn't bring it, and we're not under any huge threat from this thing. Even if for some reason they stay in and just Sludge Bomb or something, we're at full health. We're -1 SPDEF, but it's not going to do that much damage. Plus we have Lumberry, so if they stay in and just try to Willow, like we're taunting, we're blocking that anyway. So you have to taunt here thinking of how like your Raging Bolt and how your Darkrai, because Darkrai is not Boots. Again, we took that off. So you got to think of how bad Toxic Spikes affects two of our biggest like offensive Pokemon. And he just Wave Crashes. So now we got to play with a Toxic Spike on our side of the field, which is unfortunate. Now Pampey makes an aggressive play and predicts him to save the Wheezing, and Close Combat's catching the Ogerpon on switching. I don't know if I would have done that, to be honest. I think I would have just probably Wave Crashed to kill the Wheezing, because if Wheezing stayed in, then CC obviously would not have killed it. But he gets that play correctly. And then we're going to have to go into our Grotto. And again, another Pokemon that Toxic Spike kind of screws us over. And we dodge the Power Whip, and then we're going to get up our Stealth Rock, which is nice. But now Grotto's going to be down to like 20%, and we're pretty low. So, and then now Kyurem is in, and we know this thing is Physical Kyurem. And Pampey makes the correct play here, and he guards against a potential Sub or DD Kyurem, and he just roars. So this is correct 1,000,000%. I wouldn't have done anything else. And then we get in Wheezing Galar, which is kind of unfortunate for us, because now, guess what? They can get up the second layer of Toxic Spike, and Pampey just chooses to roar. I think recovering is actually a bit better there because, you know, if they attack us, we're just going to die anyway, and if they go for that Toxic Spike, we'll get some health back, so we can still use this thing for that Ogerpon / Tusk. But he does roar, so it is what it is. We do luckily roar the Tuscan, so we do reveal the booster speed. And now we can just go into Enam and just click Moonblast. He doesn't have a resistant anymore since Wheezing is dead. So at least Enamorous is still looking pretty good in this game here. There's no more Fairy Resist, and it's faster than everything. Now Carbink comes in. We make the play again into Uxie. I don't agree with this play. I think you have to go hard Palafin here. Again, we're Lumberry, so we're not going to be affected this time by the Toxic Spikes. And even if this thing wants to set up like rocks, or he wants to go for a screen, or just a body press, whatever, or a steel move versus Enam, whatever it wants to do, Palafin comes in and puts in immediate pressure, which is what we want. We go Uxie here, which is a safer play, but it doesn't really punish his moves here. If we went Palafin here, we can. That is a turn where, let's say okay, so we kill Wheezing, right? Now we go hard into Palafin on the turn they bring in Carbink, and as they light screen, this is a turn where I think after they light screen, we can freely click Close Combat. There's no fighting resist. We're not under any threat versus Carbink, right? We're still at 82%. Carbink is not going to do anything to us. This is a turn where Close Combat is a click here because there's no more fighting resist. It covers the Ogerpon switching in, and if they want to stay in and just hit us, that's fine. We can Water Move on the following turn, and then yeah, just CC into Water Move kills like anything, or 2 CCs will kill Lantern unless it wants to Terror the following turn, like whatever. So this is again a turn where you have to be aggressive. You have to capitalize on a passive Pokemon like Carbink. He makes a safe play and goes Uxie, and then his opponent makes a really good play and goes hard into Tusk on the Encore, and then that also gives them the spin, which is very brutal for us. So, and now we can't just bring in an Amorous Revenge because the light screen is up. So now we have to go into Palafin, but again, this is faster, so they can definitely stay in here and take damage on us as they do. And Pampey, unfortunately, Close Combat's again predicting one of the water guys to come in. That is. You might say this is hindsight, but I think the Water Move is actually correct here because of the Tusk is +1 speed. He's going to want to take his damage on Palafin because look at his Kyurem. His Kyurem is DD Spear. So this is like the only Pokemon that's in the way of that set just winning. So he's looking at his win condition. He's supporting his win condition by weakening pretty much the one Pokemon that cannot die to that thing. Everything else is weak to ice or like, you know, neutral ice, and that's pretty much putting Kyurem in prime position to win the game for his opponent with Palafin weakened. So we overpredict, we Close Combat. We don't see that, unfortunately. And then His opponent makes another good play and predicts a jet punch and gets the war absorb and then just kills us with Ivy Cudgel. So with the toxic spikes up, this game is honestly at this point I think it's unwinnable. He would, because Darkrai's not boots anymore, he would pretty much have to land a hypnosis and then set up multiple plots and probably get some flinches and all this stuff. And then this is another thing. So this is his opponent's crackhead lantern set to kind of check the Raging Bolt, but this set is literally just setup fodder for our Raging Bolt. What did we say we want to do versus Lantern? Is just click substitute. If we have the booster speed and we Calm Mind and then we sub on the free Lantern here, he actually just sweeps his opponent. His opponent cannot do anything because we're Terra Fairy. Carbon can't break a sub. Terra Blast is obviously going to kill Tusk. It's going to kill Kyurem, and Thunderbolt would kill Ogerpon at +1. And if it doesn't kill Ogerpon, sure, Ogerpon can break the sub, but we would two-shot the Ogerpon no problem. So this is what I'm saying. If Toxic Spikes was not up, if we taunted those Toxic Spikes, his opponent literally brought fodder to our Raging Bolt set, and the set would have literally just cleaned the game. We got rid of the booster speed on Tusk, and we know Kyurem is not Scarf or anything, so yeah, Raging Bolt was fast and everything. 2 Pokemon are sub fodder, and the other Pokemon just die. So yeah, without Toxic Spike up, I think Raging Bolt simply just sweeps this game, because again, he threw away the Wheezing pretty early. So, but again, there's nothing we can do. With the Toxic Spikes up, we cannot win this game. Maybe if he lands Hypnosis here, he does not, unfortunately. Then we could set up and potentially try to break past his team with Nasty Plot Darkrai, because he let his one kind of check to it be vulnerable to a Hypnosis, but Pampey does miss, unfortunately. Then his opponent makes a correct play and puts the Tusk to sleep because they don't need the Tusk. And then he's going to double out to Carbon Carry because he knows that Darkrai's not going to stay in and take 30% from Toxic. So, yeah, like I said, at this point, this game is not really winnable. We still do have Healing Wish in the back, but we can't Healing Wish Bolt because we're not going to have the speed anymore. And then we can Healing Wish Darkrai, but again, we're not boots, so we're just going to take the Toxic again. And pretty much from this point on, there's no way Pampey can win. So again, it was just kind of those over predictions early, and then not seeing how Toxic Spike would pretty much make us lose the game. I think had he taunted the Wheezing, yeah, we would have certainly been in prime position to win this game. But it is what it is. Like I said, you can't win them all. Even if he flinches all of the Ogerpon down, eventually we're just gonna die at Toxic anyway. So then Uxie can't obviously beat the rest. So it is what it is. Unfortunate. The game certainly did not go how it went, how we wanted it to go. But again, you cannot win them all. And as again, I talked to Pampey. He sees all the misplays and kind of things he would do differently. So that's really all I want to get out of this, guys. Is even if you lose your game, as long as you see kind of the mistakes you made, and kind of how you would do things differently if you had the chance to play again, then that's how you get better. You practice, and then eventually you'll just get better. You'll see those things naturally, and then you'll be able to win more games. So thank you guys for watching. Again, if you guys want to be part of the series where I live build a team with you guys in call and then go over the replay, all you gotta do is join the Discord down below and then simply type in the word "in" for the Team Building with Zooch channel, and I'll get you guys signed up. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.